After a wild and wacky 2010-2011 NBA season, the race was on to sign the biggest name free agents or acquire them in blockbuster trades after LeBron James made the decision to take his talents to South Beach and team up with D-Wade and Chris Bosh. After promising not 4, not 5, not 6, but many, many rings, the East was pretty much a toss-up between the big threes in Boston and Miami, and the West was to be decided between the Spurs and the Lakers in LA, led by Kobe Bryant, as they looked to three-peat twice in just under 10 years. Following a massive upset of the 1-seed Spurs to the 8-seed Memphis Grizzlies, the West looked to be clear for the Lakers, and for them to three-peat and to also make their fourth finals in the last 5 years. Yet, Dirk Nowitzki and the Dallas Mavericks swept the Lakers in round 2 as they went on to upset the Miami Heat in 6 games of the finals, leaving Kobe and the Lakers scrambling to stack their roster and to be able to compete for one more title for Kobe. On December 8th of 2011, reports broke out detailing a 3-team trade between Houston, New Orleans, and LA, where Chris Paul would join the Lakers, Pau Gasol would be sent to Houston, and the Hornets would get 4 players plus 2 draft picks. Right before it was set in stone, then Commissioner David Stern announced the trade would be vetoed, ultimately leading in a trade just 4 days later, sending Chris Paul to the LA Clippers. Welcome to the greatest sports what-ifs, and this is what if Chris Paul would be on the LA Lakers. This is the greatest sports what-ifs, and this is what if Chris Paul was on the LA Lakers. So, with me, as always, Walter Cerrato, and Tyler Barnett, and myself, Stephen Moustaris, as we're brought to you by the Intrigue Content Network. Boys, where do we start?
Wow. Lots to unpack here.
Yeah, sorry, I just read forever, sweating my balls off, but now we're good.
I love it.
Right. So, we're recording this. What time is it right now?
7:45.
7:45, so we're a little over an hour away from the tip-off of Game 2 of the 2021 NBA Finals.
That is correct.
So I thought it was fitting. Chris Paul dominates Game 1.
Dominated. The
so
whole third quarter was his.
Yeah. We're going to see if they can take a commanding 2-0 lead. So I thought it was fitting that we're recording this right now. So whatever happens in that game,
so fitting.
Maybe Chris Paul looks his age and it's 1-1 going back to Milwaukee and we got ourselves a series, or he keeps it going. Can I just, real quick sidebar on that?
Yeah.
Just the basketball coach in me. This drove me nuts. These guys are coaching professional basketball teams the entire third quarter. Tyler, you said it. Chris Paul is cooking the Bucks with a high screener roll.
You can't play
DeAndre Ayton comes up, high screener roll. They switch every single time onto Brook Lopez, and he just cooks. Why
cook?
It could be worse. They could be playing the drop coverage they were playing last season, and they just got dropped by the Heat.
Yeah.
So
when Brook Lopez doesn't play the entire fourth quarter,
he can't.
But the damage was done at that point. Tell your guard to fight through that screen.
Drew Holiday has to.
Yeah.
And you're going to see so much Giannis at the 5 this game.
Yeah. I texted him and said that I almost got emotional watching Chris Paul.
He really did. He said I might cry.
Play that well, because it's like you watch him. This is going to lead perfect in the transitions, but like we watched him since 2005. Go at it. Easily, you can argue he's been the number 1 point guard, or at least tied at number 1 point guard for literally since then. Since 2005 in the league. And I have a list of point guards this man's outlasted. It is stupid. But it was just so cool because, we all work hard, all 3 of us, so you guys understand it too. So it's like, we don't know NBA struggle, but we know the struggle of just getting through things and to keep being persistent on it and keep failing and keep getting up. And to see him just kind of just live that moment up. And after all, he could even blow the next 3 games or whatever, how many games they blow 4 in a row. It wouldn't even matter. Just to see him kind of take that was sick. But that almost brings us into this, which we can even get into this what if, and I don't even want to talk about it yet. But this what if that we're talking about, if Chris Paul is on the LA Lakers, he might not even be on Phoenix right now. And this man, who knows? Who knows right now?
With his ring.
Yeah, if you never know. This is why we're here. So let's break into it. Let's go. 2011-2012 season. Chris Paul is on the LA Lakers.
And we had the discussion before we came on here. The butterfly effect of this. We could talk about this.
Hours.
The variables of where this could go and how this could affect things.
No AD.
Right. So we tried to like keep it within those first couple years afterwards, because there's no saying what could happen after that. Injuries,
right, it's ridiculous.
Trades, everything like that. Player that has developed doesn't develop, or a player that hasn't developed, whatever it might
Different
be.
moves in the leagues, anything, and like
there's literally an unlimited number.
And here's my argument with it, and I don't think I'm twisting any of your guys' arms, but the only possibility I think that we're getting any high level years out of them is 3 max. 3 max, because without Chris Paul, we've seen Kobe get hurt 2 years
Kobe's
after.
Achilles is done.
12-13, so he's 6 games and just whatever. He plays the last 6 games or something in 13-14. So you can make the argument that Chris Paul's got the ball more, and it's a
we'll get into that.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Kobe could be in. So 3 years. I went 3 years after the fact that he would have 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014. Okay. So that's Okay.
So, I mean, what I like to look at it as, what would those teams have looked like, the 3 teams, if this trade goes through?
That's perfect.
What does that team look like for the 2011-2012 season, which was a weird year, right? Let's a little more context.
Weird.
I loved your intro, right?
I fucked up a little bit at the end, so forgive me.
You're good.
It's a lot.
So 2011, the Heatles.
Yes, sir.
The Heatles get together.
Hey, all right.
They choke LeBron.
LeBron chokes. LeBron chokes.
All right,
D-Wade carried him through the... I'm not going to get it. That's not this.
It's
not this.
LeBron had some mental midget moments, I think. Is that fair to say?
That's fair.
That's fair to say?
That's 100% fair.
I think the pressure kind of got to him a little bit.
By the way, massive LeBron supporter still over here. Regardless, I still love LeBron.
So, going into that... So, they have the lockout, right? And LeBron's still playing the villain and everything like that. Big target on the Heat's back, but LeBron's now 0-2.
Yes.
In the NBA Finals.
Yep.
So you can feel the pressure kind of mounting,
sure.
right? And you mentioned it. The Lakers flame out in the second round against the Mavs, who went on to upset the Heat. You guys, I don't know if you remember this.
I
think it was Game 4 in Dallas. Yep. Andrew Bynum with the nasty.
Yeah, we were literally just talking about it. We were
on JJ Barea.
Yeah.
Oh, that's...
Poor man went flying. So that was a bad flame out.
That's bad.
Yeah.
And then he leads to the perm, and then, oh my God.
Yikes.
Andrew Bynum, rest in peace. But you said, what does this Lakers team look like in 2011, 2012? And I just wanted to bounce it off you guys just to make sure I'm not wrong. So I had starting point guard, clearly Chris Paul.
Yep.
Starting 2, always 2, Kobe Bryant, unless Michael Jordan's still alive, or in the league. But I'm throwing 3, which this could even be 4, Metta World Peace.
Okay.
And then you got Andrew Bynum at 5, but that 4 right there is going to be the biggest thing. But I was looking at the free agents, because they would have still... The crazy thing about this trade, if they would have actually went through, they still would have had all their salary. I think they had like $20 million, $25 million in cap room. Still had all these trades, or draft picks that they could have traded. So they could have made the big move for Dwight Howard, but say they didn't, and say they... In this world, unless you guys want to say they do it this year...
Because I think
they might. So you said it.
They might do that trade, and they might.
Would they have done it ASAP? Because they don't do it for a whole other year.
I think if you get Chris Paul,
you go for it all. Okay, so the Andrew Bynum's gone.
You think they make the move and?
Well, no, I'm just saying if they didn't make that move that year, I'm saying do it.
So I got like their core,
because it's a what if.
I got their core right then: Kobe, Chris Paul, Andrew Bynum, Metta World Peace. You still got Matt Barnes.
That's what I wrote.
Steve Blake. You still have Derek Fisher.
D-Fish. Josh
That's
Roberts.
A solid. I mean, that's a pretty solid 7 right there. Now, you're lacking a little bit of bulk in your front court, but.
Well, here's the big forward that was there for the free agency that I think they could have got. Thaddeus Young.
Perfect.
Okay.
Do you think they go at him?
A young Thad Young.
Thad Young.
Really good Thaddeus Young, by the way.
He has an impressive career. And then here's a couple more that could have made sense, but the Heat end up getting Shane Battier. But I could see Shane Battier going to the Lakers, maybe, if that team's together.
With Chris Paul, maybe.
And then this one's for fun. This is another what if. The 2011-2012 Lakers could have been an all-time team. I'm just letting you know right now. Chris Paul, Kobe Bryant, Metta World Peace. They could have picked up T-Mac. They could have got Gilbert Arenas. They could have got Vince Carter. Mike Bibby was still in the league. You could have had the all-time greatest team ever, but you're not going to pick them up.
They still went 41-25.
Yes.
They won their division. They flame out in the first round against OKC. But we'll get to that here. What happened with that OKC? They in my opinion, play very largely in this what-if scenario.
You got to.
Well, and you even look at the 3 years before. Well, not the 2010-11 season, but the years before that. OKC was giving them fits in the beginning of the years. Yeah. Always.
Just so much offense.
7 games, push them 7 games in 2 years in a row, I think.
Twice.
Or 6 and then 7 or whatever. But still giving them really tough games at the young age that they were.
So, all right. let's do rapid fire. That's a shortened season, right? The lockout.
Yeah, short season.
Right.
First game's December 25th, Christmas Day.
All right, so 66-game season. The Lakers went 41-25.
Yep.
With how it all played out. If the Chris Paul trade happens, let's just go rapid fire. How many games did the Lakers win that year? Tyler, go.
Over 45 easily. That's a +6 win team with Chris Paul. I'm saying probably 47 wins. 47 wins is what I'm going to go with.
I don't see him going 50 and 16. 48, 49 maybe. I think they could. I think
that's the number. I think Chris Paul adds I think
at least 47,
50 for sure and 80 something. They would definitely get something.
Yeah, easily.
60. There's 60 some wins,
but
but it's shortened season 48, 49 I think would be the magic number.
Playoff team. Home court in the first round.
Because what seed did they get that year? The fourth? Because they had the fifth matchup, I think. Because I think they easily could have got third or second. I have the standings written down, but this is a hypothetical world. So yeah, and then you still got the matchup between the Spurs, and then here's the first thing I'm going to throw at you guys. This is the number one matchup I think that they're running into, and it's not talent based, but just how long they played together. The Memphis Grizzlies, I think, are given this first team is if they can avoid the Memphis Grizzlies,
that's big
for their first year together at least without Dwight Howard and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think they have a solid chance against the Spurs. Because Chris Paul has been known to kill the Spurs, and Kobe can do his thing too. But anyway, it would have definitely been a nice matchup. But that's what I'm saying. I don't know if you guys are in agreement there. I just think in agreement. I just think that the Memphis Grizzlies are probably giving these guys the worst run just because they played so well together. They go on. They like we just said. They beat the fucking Spurs the year before at an 8 seed because they had Zebo and Gasol, like you said, and Gasol wins Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Yeah.
So
just balling.
It's interesting.
He stole it from LeBron, but it's fine. LeBron should win Defensive Player of the Year. But
there's a good argument for that.
He was balling.
There's a good argument.
Balling.
He was, but Marcus Gasol was playing best center defense that since Rudy to this day, besides from Rudy Gobert.
So the big question with this, and I apologize if I'm stepping on
one of you guys'
toes here. The big question is, can Chris Paul and Kobe Bryant coexist?
That was my number one bullet point on my paper.
I think this is why I wasn't even that worried about it. I really think that Kobe has a certain respect for Chris Paul that he doesn't have with other guys. Because Chris Paul, there's even the article out there where Chris Paul was really upset about this trade not going through, only because he had already called Kobe and they already had some stuff set up and they were dying to play together. And I'm not going to say it like this, but I am going to throw it out there as a what if. Is this trade not happening the reason that Kobe so just fucked the world after that? I think that he just hates Dwight Howard for it. I think he holds it against him, and he knows that Steve Nash is not Chris Paul right now. I think that could have played a big factor into the fuck the NBA because they just took a ring from me in that year, in his eyes.
Well, in my opinion, this trade happens. I don't think Dwight Howard's in LA. I don't think Steve Nash is in LA.
Well, Steve Nash definitely not. He's taking
Does Steve Nash go to the Clippers somehow? Did they pick him up?
No, I don't think. He only had 2 offers, man.
New York was the other one.
Yeah.
He was probably going to go to New York, but I'm just saying the Clippers had to make a move.
His back was shot. He was a shell.
Yeah, his back was
it was a shame because I remember being really excited about that.
The year before, he was still balling.
Yeah.
So not this season necessarily, but we will get into it. I got a couple of Clippers takes, but even their first season together, not really Lob City yet, so I won't get into the Lob City takes yet. Okay. But I definitely want to stick to that 11-12. So if somehow Chris Paul and Kobe can come together, because I don't think Kobe would have a problem with a point guard. I think he would have a problem. He has problem with bigger guys. I think we've seen it with Shaq, we've seen it with Dwight Howard. You low-key see it with Bynum, but Bynum listened to him.
Even
Same
him
with
Pau Gasol butted heads.
And then Pau started listening.
Yeah.
But yeah, because if you're trying to stay dominant, like Meta World Peace is as dominant as he thinks he is on the court or just meta or whatever, he's still a bitch when it comes to Kobe because he was under his little wing. That's why they got along so well. Yeah. Because you would listen to him. So I think Chris Paul would have been cool with it, and I think that's just me. But I'm a Kobe fan. I got a Kobe tattoo, so you guys know.
You do, yeah.
I'm a Kobe. I'd suck his cock. So
I think you would.
I'm not. But I think it works just because of the point guard aspect. We never honestly. It sucks because even with the Steve Nash trade goes through with the Lakers still and Chris Paul doesn't go there, Steve Nash gets fucking hurt and we don't even see anything out of him, at all. He gets 56 games in 2 seasons, and those are full seasons. And you kind of look back now and it's almost like why did they even do it almost? Because Steve, it's because you look how old he is and you know but it's 20/20 clear vision when you look in hindsight. Right. So
yeah.
But at the time and. Well, I'll save it for the next season. But to go into it, to finish the 11-12 season, Do you guys think that they could even get out of the West that first season with Andrew Bynum at center?
I don't think so.
All right. It's first year together. We've only keep this in mind too. We've only seen the first year work with the Boston Celtics in 2008. That first year for them, like at least modern day basketball, like in the last 5 years before there were 10 years. It was that first first year. And if you want to count Tim Duncan's draft year or whatever, but like they already had a stacked ass team. So and it wasn't a big So technically it would be the second time that a team's got together and then later on Kawhi Leonard would do a KD whatever. We know the deal. But
so I have a feeling I know both your guys' answer on this, and I might be on a different island. I think Chris Paul would have been great for Andrew Bynum. I think he would have brought out the best in him.
That's my take with. All right, we're gonna go there. I think so. I think Chris Paul look what he's doing with DeAndre Ayton right now.
Yeah.
Andrew Bynum was what 26 at this time. 27.
If
that. No, because I think he was 28, 29 with the Sixers when we lost. He went full Michael Jackson mode. I don't know what the heck he was doing, but
I thought he was more like in the 24, 25.
He could have. He honestly could have been easily. He really could have been 2011, 2012 season.
Guys,
but yeah, I think. Could you imagine if there was a world that they could have kept Pau Gasol?
There's not. You can't keep Pau.
That's the trade that I completely understand. That would give Vita for sure, 100%.
You can't keep Pau because he's just so fucking
too damn good.
So going into the 2011-2012 season, Andrew Bynum would have been 24 years old.
Oh my fucking god,
that's crazy.
Well,
see, I personally I know that he was a head case. But
I was gonna say he's a fucking head case.
You can't deny the dude was talented.
When he was under Kobe's wing, and then if he would have had a point guard like Chris Bosh or Chris Paul, I almost said Chris Bosh, but Chris Paul, are you joking me?
He was giving Shaq buckets.
Well, okay, so here's the other thing, too, we got to keep in mind. So I wrote down the leaders and whatnot for all the seasons, and this is the leaders just normal, 2011-2012 season. Kobe finishes third in scoring behind LeBron and KD. Chris Paul averages the most assists per game, but total assists, he's third behind Steve Nash and Rondo. And then probably you can make an argument, because he was mad that year, still, whatever. I'm not mad, but you know what I'm saying. A different team, new team.
Disgruntled.
And then...
Correct.
Rebound, whatever. Andrew Bynum finishes fourth. You're still geek. Chris Paul leading the league in steals. And then I think Bynum finished like fifth or sixth in blocks that year. Yeah. So, like, that team right there, dude. And then Metta World Peace drawing and really getting to just draw because he doesn't have to hit some big shots that he hits for him. And some
massive shots.
They don't even have to worry about him. And then who knows what that does for Matt Barnes? Are you joking me? Matt Barnes goes to the Clippers. Looks like a damn sixth man of the year if it wasn't for Jamal Crawford. And then... He's a baller. So I always thought it was funny the Matt Barnes Kobe thing after the whole ball fake to the face. It was always the funny.
It was always the competition. But, I loved it.
So I think we're.
So they lose in the second round to the Thunder in 2012.
Yes.
Without Chris Paul.
Without Chris Paul. They have Chris Paul. Do they beat the Thunder? You don't think so?
I think
they do.
This is where it gets exciting because as we see in the finals of this very year, James Harden, when it really was on the line and they needed him, he fell under pressure very bad in the finals. You see it.
That's fair.
I think that stigma is still attached to him.
Oh, it has to be.
10 years later.
Oh, it is. You couldn't even. I mean, I know. I'm not trying to bring it to right now. This past finals or this past playoffs, but he was hurt. But he also looked like he was scared too. Yeah. But this isn't that. What if?
Yeah.
But I think that short beard James Harden at the time.
It was a small
ugly teeth.
Sixth man
of the year that year.
Shocking to think about him being sixth man right now.
Of the year behind Thabo Cephalosha.
All right, so we got to think here too, though, because I'm also remembering this because I'm sure you guys saw it this past year whenever the Suns finished second, but like Chris Paul's winning percentage when he gets to a new team
goes up every time he goes somewhere.
He took the Hornets from a 220 win percentage to a 463, almost 500, and then he takes his Clippers team from a 390 to a 606 win percentage. So you got to think he's moving the Lakers.
He moves the fucking needle.
He's just so fucking good. He's a general. So I think he's definitely giving Westbrook problems. Westbrook's giving him problems too, though, because it's not. Both ways. And then, but KD,
I'm just saying, KD is the most unstoppable.
Serge Ibaka at the time, who was playing
3 blocks a game,
playing at his best, literally has some of the greatest game saving.
Hey, can we talk about Serge Ibaka's age for a second? Because I think at the time they probably had him like 21.
21,
but he
was.
I think he's legitimately like 26.
Yeah, that's how they all do that.
Yeah,
all those wild towns like
Cuba, Dominican Republic with the baseball players, and Africa with the basketball players.
Cuba with fighters and shit. Yeah,
he's definitely.
But he was
older.
Yeah, he was a dog. He was an absolute dog.
Really good
at that time, and then he turned into some shooter when they got rid of James. All right, that's a what if that we got to do.
That was terrible.
What if they kept James Harden? But yeah. So I'm in agreement. Even though I'm a Lakers fan, I think they could probably get by OKC max. But if they run, like I said, they go up against Memphis, they're gone. Raps. Spurs, I think, got them. Is there anybody else in the West that might even get... Like, I think all the teams might give them a fit just because it's their first year. But because they might take them 6 or 7 to win a series. But I still think they could get it done against OKC in a 6-game series. Just because what we see with James Harden in the finals. That's the only thing I'm going off
That's
of.
fine, but you don't
because they kind of had a cakewalk through the whole thing. James Harden was playing very easy. And then when they had to rely on him...
That 2012 finals, I think, was a lot closer than I think people
It was decided by one possession, 3 games.
Yeah.
And OKC got game 1.
I can't lie to you guys. This is my proudest moment of any sports thing ever. I called that series to a T even before. Like, I watched the NBA quite a bit, especially with LeBron on the Heatles with all that. But I literally called, I'm saying it right now, young KD is going to win game 1, scare LeBron, and LeBron's going to win the next 4 because he's not going to let this kid get a ring before him. And that's exactly what happened. I didn't think it was going to be as close as it was still. I thought the Heat were just going to be like, first game, whatever, figure all out, and then go. But, yeah, very close, very close. And it's honestly, if you look at it, if we really look at it, the Heat get lucky 2 straight years with some collapses from James Harden and Manu Ginobili. Some collapses, but we're not talking about the Heat.
Tracy McGrady instead of him at that point. That's all I'm saying. How do you not?
First take the next day.
How do you not?
So what we're saying, to get rid of this 2011-2012 season to move on, are we saying that they probably don't make it to the finals?
I don't think so.
Well, this is what's crazy. If they beat OKC, then who the hell do the Heat play? They get the Spurs 3 straight years, I guess Chris Paul would talk about it because Chris Paul's on the team. So
see, again, this is so tough. I'm in the same we're both.
This is all hypothetical. All hypotheticals.
So I want to believe that Kobe finds a way to make it to the finals.
They're just not.
I'm just loving the 2012-2013 Lakers with Chris Paul. That's all I'm saying.
It's a sick team.
It's not even an argument. I feel like. Because we're going into it. I say the 2011-2012 Lakers, in my opinion, aren't making the finals. Just because of the brand new together. I think it's just because they don't have that 4th position set. They get power forward. It's not set in stone. We don't know if they would have got Thaddeus Young.
Matt Barnes is 6'10".
Well, Matt Barnes is that dude, but he also, just me personally, from what I remember watching him, I thought he always was just a little weaker, scrawnier. He's going to get, if you played Memphis, Zebo's giving him
and this was
Serge Ibaka giving him the work.
This was right before the small ball era.
It is literally 3 years before.
I'm happy you brought that up. I have some phenomenal, but we'll talk about it soon.
Well, can we talk about the other 2 teams then?
Yeah. Let's say it out. Talk it out.
So the Rockets at 2011-2012 season, they go 34-32, just missed the playoffs. Their team would have been. This would have been their core.
All right, let me hear it.
I love this team.
This is interesting.
Love this team.
All right, Tyler, you know where I'm going with this?
Love this team.
Pau Gasol.
Yep.
Kyle Lowry.
Yep.
Yeah, Kyle Lowry's huge.
I think
people forget
there's a lot. It was
pre Kyle Lowry, but Kyle
before
Lowry
he became Kyle Lowry. I think
he still averaged 6 rebounds a game.
Yeah.
I'm like Lowry.
I think the casual NBA fan forgets that he started with the Rockets. Okay.
Yes,
Chandler Parsons.
His 2 good years that he had.
And then he got his bag.
And he got his bag and dipped.
Yeah.
Dipped.
A rookie Marcus Morris.
Yes, sir.
How about that?
Wow.
I did not know.
He was super disgruntled, though. He was not happy.
I did not know
They got Royce White the year after that, I believe.
Royce White. Yep.
Sam Dallenberg.
Old as dirt.
Serviceable big. Serviceable big.
He'll give you the Andrew Bynum elbow if you need.
For sure.
Courtney Lee.
A
solid 2-guard that time.
That's a solid squad.
They went 34-32. In reality, that team...
You pick up at least 5 wins.
I think they sneak in the playoffs.
Yeah, 8 seed.
I think they sneak
8 or
in the
7 seed. I'm not mad at that.
Are they playing the Lakers in round 1?
Wow.
Or Lakers number 1 seed.
I would love to say Pau Gasol could give them a couple more games easily.
He's got 2 more
game swing, maybe 5 game swing.
And Pau's got 2.
Yeah,
2 more all-star caliber seasons left. So it's possible.
And I'm nearly positive that the Rockets are going to come up again when we talk about the fallout of that 2012
yes, they are.
OKC team.
That's
another butterfly
the avalanche
thing.
goes nuts.
So we all agree the Rockets would have been
I like that team, yeah.
And they got some youth. Could have been something moving forward. All right, how about the Hornets?
Yes.
2011-2012 Hornets, right? They go 21-45.
Yes, they do.
Garbage. Just trash, right?
And just to be clear, who's the number 1 pick the following season?
The 20...
That 2012 draft.
2012 draft. That would be Anthony Davis.
Yeah. It would be Anthony Davis.
But they don't get
Anthony Davis. They can't because that team they got now is winning games.
Hey, you know who got Anthony Davis that year? Maybe?
The
Cavaliers.
The Cavs.
They wouldn't have drafted
him.
They wouldn't have drafted him.
They would have drafted somebody else, don't worry.
I mean,
Speaking of the Cavs real quick, though.
Speaking
of the Cavs real quick.
I love that you brought that up. That wasn't even on my radar at all. I love that. Go ahead.
Speaking of the Cavs, Rookie of the Year in 2011-2012 is Kyrie
Irving.
Yeah.
And then
they get AD with Kyrie.
Wait. That wasn't... No, okay. I was saying that...
And then,
that wasn't the Anthony Bennett year. That was a couple years later.
That was 3 years later.
And then, are you guys ready for this stat real quick? Because we're probably going to move on to the 2012-2013 season.
I just want to talk about the Hornets team after we're done.
Yeah,
do it right now. Do it right now.
Go ahead. Let me hear it.
All right, you ready for this? This is what I have as like their core. This is a solid rotation.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Lamar Odom.
Yes.
Marco Bellinelli.
Yes,
Bucket.
sir.
Eric Gordon.
Not yet. He was part of the Clippers trade.
Yeah.
He didn't get there yet. So you know Eric Gordon, but you get Kevin Martin.
Yeah, you
got who just came off his 23 point per game.
You got Kmart.
That's right. Okay. Luis Scola.
Yes. Yep. Perfect.
Goran Dragic.
In the next season, he averages 20 points a game.
Chris Kaman.
Yes.
Solid, big. They could step out and shoot. Kind of ahead of his time. Could step out and shoot a little bit.
Nobody let him do it because he was too big.
Jared Jack.
Jared Jack's my man.
That's a solid. That's a
Paul,
playoff team.
Chris Paul's right-hand man at the time.
That is a playoff team.
Yeah.
Goran Dragic.
And they got Al-Farouq Aminu.
Who is still a good defender.
Would they have gotten Grievous Vasquez? Because I'm pretty sure he's...
No.
They don't get him then?
They don't get him then?
I know he's technically on that team.
I think he was on the team.
He was on the team. I just didn't know if they...
Was he on that team? Oh, he was drafted the year before. That's right, not the year.
Because the next year, the man has a ridiculous season, but it doesn't... I guess it does matter. He would have been balling for them, but... Regardless.
Speaking of which,
so if the Lakers, real quick to finish up the 11-12, just one rapid fire answer I want to just know. If the Lakers beat the OKC Thunder with Chris Paul that year in 2011-2012, who's playing the Miami Heat in the finals then?
The 2012 Western Conference Finals, was it, remind me, was it the Mavs?
No, the 2012
was it the Spurs, Spurs and Thunder?
Yeah, the Thunder played. The Thunder played.
Yeah, it was Spurs, OKC,
Thunder,
and OKC won
in like
5. I thought it was 5. Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of figured it out.
They destroyed them. Tim Duncan played fully healthy. Fully healthy Spurs got destroyed.
Wow.
It was almost like this new ball age.
Kevin Durant cannot be stopped was the problem.
Nobody could guard KD.
And that was before Kawhi?
That was the year before. That was the year before.
Kawhi's not there yet.
That was the year because it was AD, and then I think
Kawhi's a rookie. Later.
So
2012, 2013 when he's balling.
Okay.
On the fucking Heat.
So he's baby.
Oh my God!
So he's baby claw.
Yeah.
At San Diego State still.
Yeah.
So do the Lakers beat the Spurs and make it?
Tim Duncan wins games. That's all I'm saying.
It's a long. I mean,
Memphis is gonna have to come in here because
Memphis.
The reason that we're not even talking about Memphis right now is because the Clippers with Chris Paul go on 40 and 26 and beat Memphis in 7 games. So like. That right there almost gives you something. If that's the first year, and Chris Paul himself could beat him, not himself.
Well, no, I'm gonna say All-Star Blake Griffin.
I like
Blake Griffin's third year technically.
If like betting on futures, I mean, I'm sure you could do it back then, but I know it wasn't nearly as prevalent as it is now. If I could have put money on the Grizzlies to like sneak into the Western Conference Finals, I would have.
Yeah,
I love that team.
I love
especially
that team.
After they just beat the Spurs as an 8 seed the year before. I was all in on the Grizzlies. They were the last. Honestly, to this day, they might be the last team we'll ever see that ran the traditional 4 and 5 and was actually successful.
Yeah, super successful.
Oh my God, Marcus Gasol, are you joking me?
And they couldn't move. Zebo was not a liability on defense, surprisingly.
But I'll part with you on this one. The whole entire first year together, typically don't figure it out.
Yeah.
Spurs Heat 2012 Finals. Yeah, probably.
And I think
that's probably a safe bet.
I still think that
or the Grizzlies, maybe. I don't know.
And regardless of who it is, Memphis or San Antonio, I think the Heat win that.
The Heat are winning
in 5.
Dwayne Wade's averaging 25. LeBron's averaging 30. It's wraps.
Yeah. They weren't getting stopped that year, unless if they. Wow.
Chris Bosh was balling.
Yeah.
You could make the argument that might have been. Was it that year or the following year? I know both years LeBron was super efficient. Like him and Dwayne Wade would have contests to see who could have a higher field goal percentage.
Yeah, I remember that. It was.
You could argue that was the best.
That was the best,
most efficient version of LeBron.
It was 2012, 2013 because that was the year that they won
the
like
year afterwards?
They won 28 games straight.
And they were and that was full villain LeBron, where I thought LeBron was like
he had the
Bane, he had the mask on,
yeah.
and it was the scariest LeBron I've ever
seen.
The most dominant LeBron
mask.
to this day, the most dominant LeBron we've ever seen.
In that, was it 27, 28, something like that? The win streak.
28.
Was it? They got 28. Okay, one of those games I remember was in Cleveland.
Yes,
and the Cavs were up 27 in the second half. Maybe that's why the 27 stuck in my head. And I'll never forget sitting there like, we still don't got this. And we lost.
Because they were hungry. They wanted that. But
the sound in that arena that night was disgusting.
MVP LeBron, back-to-back years, 2011, 2012, 2013. Yeah, Jesus Lord.
As it should have been.
All right, so I still think the Heat win regardless of who they play in 2011, 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And then do we have any more takes on 2011, 2012 before we dive into 2012, 2013? Because this is where these next 2 years get juicy. And this is where all the what-ifs really come out, in my opinion. Because I don't think there's any way. I don't think you guys are arguing this. I don't think there's any way that this Lakers team wins 3 in a row, unless it's like this year where all these injuries happen. But they wasn't. You know what I'm saying? There were no injuries.
Yeah, we're playing all this out like there's no catastrophic injuries.
Yeah. So I don't think they got it that first year. I just don't. I don't. Even with Bynum, I just think that losing Pau Gasol really catches up to them because they don't have a solid 4 yet. We can't even throw it. Like I know Metta World Peace or Matt Barnes could be something,
but it's not the
same.
Like
they're not going to throw. Who is that one white dude that always had the tats or whatever? The
Josh Roberts?
No, it's
Robert Sacre?
Sacre, that's it. Yeah. They're not. They might throw him in there.
Hype guy.
And Josh McRoberts played like 50 games that year, but he didn't start any of them. But like, I think, he's not going to close out a game for you though.
He can.
So this leads into 2012, 2013, and I don't think you guys are arguing with me, but I would love to put Dwight Howard on this team. This is I think they go all in on the Dwight Howard. They say, "See you later, Steve Nash," and this team right here.
Bynum's got to be gone.
I don't even know where to begin with the possibilities of 2012, 2013, because Bynum's gone,
and
then you got Dwight Howard. If they somehow could have kept Pau Gasol, I don't know how they could have because they didn't. But so they would have had to figure something out. Say they would have got Thaddeus Young or something. They could put Metta World Peace or something. Who knows? Because I think
Metta World Peace is big enough.
I think, and then you got Kobe and Chris Paul, and then
I think you figured out the 4 of them at the second year. You get Chris Paul, Kobe, and then if you can get rid of Andrew Bynum for Dwight Howard, you got to do it.
You do it.
You got to do it.
And then here's my take. It's not even that hot, but I would love to say hot take just because of what we saw transpire. I think Chris Paul is making Dwight Howard somehow even more of a monster than he already was at the time. Even though there were many years there in a row that even though we saw Dwight Howard dominate, quote unquote, but I saw the Celtics dissect them years and years and years in a row because they just let Dwight Howard try to score and he can't.
Yeah,
so,
he has no post.
But that man could catch any lob ever, and Chris Paul to this day still might be the greatest lob tosser of all time. Of all time in transition, anything like. It's nuts. And seeing what he's got little DeAndre Ayton doing out there right now, like literally from All-Star break, they're looking like, oh, he can't even be on the fucking court. And then now it's he's literally
defense. He's playing Brook Lopez off the court right now.
Yeah. All right, so here's the other thing. I'm happy we're bringing up the Suns. It's almost a perfect transition. That's the closest thing we're ever going to see to what that could have been like. But that would have been a young Kobe as in Devin Booker. And I think it's working very well because Devin Booker loves Kobe Bryant, tries to copy him. Like, I think that's where I'm seeing that it could work out because Chris Paul is just that good of a point guard that people understand. Like we all know, like we don't play NBA ball, but we all know, like it when you have a solid point guard and pick up basketball, it just makes it so easy. I like to say I'm pretty good at point guard and pick up basketball, and that's what I just like to be a good passer for people. Like it's a key thing. Table. It's a key thing. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just that whole because we have to throw it in there. It's a point guard in front of Chris Paul. Like He's a wizard, dude. He's a wizard, Harry.
He's a wizard, Harry. You're right, wizard, Harry.
So I think he pushes Dwight Howard to just that other level, and I think Kobe doesn't have to push his body to
get that Achilles tear.
Literally carries him to the final, not finals, but carries him to the playoffs. 45-37 without Chris Paul,
and they had to win
they had to win 4 or 5 games in a row.
It was something. They
had
to go like
8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 or something weird.
And he was playing like 43 minutes a night. He was averaging like
30 points a game.
38 and 8. Like he was doing everything.
There was a point where he got subbed out at only like 41 minutes and he was pissed. I remember them making a huge story about it. Like he's like, "No, you're not taking me the fuck out." Like literally pushed the sub back out. Like it's. Yeah, I mean, we probably don't have to see Kobe get to that level, but he might have been able to save that for the playoff push. Run. And I think, oh my God!
A little bit of irony here. A little bit of irony. Just going into the what if.
Let me hear it.
This just hit me. Do you guys know who they were playing when Kobe got hurt?
The Warriors.
Isn't that a little symbolic?
With
it was like a year later.
Yeah, the changing
Warriors
of the guard
kind of start to become the Warriors.
I'm happy you bring that up because I'm just going to throw this out there real quick before we get crazy into it. Do you guys know who was the leading 3-point shooter in 2011, 2012, and how many it was?
Like field goal percentage? How
many made threes in one season? Where you can look at.
All right. Well, I know this because
this is 2011, 2012. We go back 1 year. My bad, and then I'll tell you who is 2012, 2013. Because this is how big of a difference is it. No.
Who's top 5?
It's most improved player of the year of 2011, 2012, if that helps you guys out. Ryan Anderson.
Oh, that's right. He played for the Hornets?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to guess he made like 223s.
112.
166.
All right.
And he attempted 378. The very next year, because the year before that, like the 3 or 4 years before Ryan Anderson, it was still 150 was like the most. The very next year, how many is it?
It's 360.
Yeah, leading.
The very next year?
Yeah.
212.
272 threes by Steph fucking Curry.
It's almost 300. It was almost 300 because I know he broke.
And his shooting percentage was still better than Ryan Anderson's. I didn't get the attempts, but his shooting percentage was better by like 10%.
Then wasn't it like the next season he had over 300 and something?
Well, no, that was the year after because next year he went 261 in 2013 to 14.
Okay, all right,
but then 14-15 he had that like 300 something because James Harden only had like 12 behind him. They both were in
ridiculous.
Clear 300 or 400. The one year James Harden had 400.
16 they won 73. He went over 400.
He went
God,
over
dude.
Because he hit like I think over a third of his threes that he hit were step back threes.
That's why I'm happy we're doing this because while all our eyes are getting big on these like big acquisitions and all this stuff of like
the league was changing
of what's like, oh, where'd LeBron just go? Where'd Kobe go? Oh, where's Dwight Howard going? And then it's like, oh wait, here's Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green out in the West building something vicious, starting these 3-pointers that we've been watching in college for the last couple years. If you keep in mind, Jimmer for that freaking JJ Redick was like the godfather of threes that was shooting them for no reason, like. But splashing them from Duke's freaking logo, and then Jimmer comes in, and then you got Steph, and then Trae Young now, and it's nuts to see.
The progression is ridiculous.
So the league average, I believe 10 years ago, like the league average for 3-point field goal attempts per game was 18. Do you guys have any guess at what it is now?
It's at least 30.
It's almost,
34.
It's like 34.8. It's
at least 30. It was, I think, like 2 years ago.
And in the playoffs, isn't it more?
It is more because
it's like 40?
I don't know the playoffs.
It's
40 or something? Yeah,
I was
going to say, I thought it was something stupid.
But does Kobe, as he ages,
nope.
Does he become more of, do I stretch it out to the 3-point line?
No, I the only reason I don't think so, like we saw with Vince Carter, is because Vince Carter lost all of his bounce, and all of his.
He was still throwing it down though. Last
year. No, he could. He could turn
the jumping was the problem.
He turned the clock back. He did it. He would do it like once a month.
So you don't.
But I think Kobe still got that because you got to remember 2013 or no, not 2013-14 because he was hurt, but 2015-16, the year he came back, he put that dunk down in Brooklyn over Lopez and
Chris Humphries and
it was Chris Humphries and then
Gerald Wallace.
Gerald Wallace, that was it. Like still putting the clock.
Some moments.
So like, but he was still.
He wasn't.
He still could just dissect you with the mid range. Like, he was still peak Kobe, I think. This was the last couple years, though. I think it might have been his last year. Technically, in real life it was. But in this hypothetical world...
And it goes back to what we were talking about with CP and Kobe coexisting, right?
Yeah.
As Kobe's an alpha. Chris
is.
Paul is an alpha.
Most definitely.
As Kobe ages, does he kind of say, hey, this is your team now?
I don't think he says it's your team.
He doesn't do it like LeBron can with AD. Like, LeBron's almost like, please... You know what I'm saying? And unless it's like the spotlight's on him and he's like, all right,
like, I don't want to do this. I'd rather you do this, but okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Like, begrudgingly, still.
All right, I'll still do it.
But Kobe was Kobe's just a killer. Like, dude, I'm going out on my shield.
But does
like,
Chris Paul let him take those dumb ass shots?
No, he doesn't have to. I don't think Kobe wanted to take all them damn shots. I think he went like, Kawhi Leonard does in 19 finals. Like, he's like, hey, dude, none of you guys are getting the ball. None of you guys even want to shoot. So I'm shooting 50-something times a day. But it's going to be one of the better playoff games anybody remembers, even though I went 25 of 50. Like, come on. 50. But still ball. It's like, that's what Kobe had to do. Like, but then you got Chris Paul in the squad. You got to worry about Meta World Peace open in the corner. Like, that's a miss. Like, you got Chris Paul, who can easily dissect the team, and then he's lobbing up to Dwight Howard every time.
By the way, won't go left ever in his life.
Oh,
Chris
my
Paul
God, dude.
Left.
No.
Never. So, all right, rapid-fire questions for you guys right here.
All right, let's hear it.
All right. How do you guys truly feel about the Lakers with Howard, Chris Paul, and Kobe? Like you said with Chris Paul and Kobe, where all three of them work together?
Yep. Because I think Howard goes back to his beta mentality that he usually needs.
Yeah, and he's got Chris Paul who's just leading him like a puppeteer. Mm-hmm. But I think the only backing is because we saw what happened with Steve Nash, and there's no matter what you could have threw Steve Blake out there and it probably would have been better. Like, no offense, just Steve Nash just couldn't do it. It was too old. It was too late for him.
Why the fuck did they still have Steve Blake? Like, they had Gilbert Arenas on the clock ready to go.
They have like 4 point guards with that team. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't.
Still
make
got
sense.
D-Fish, yeah.
Literally,
he sucks.
It doesn't make sense. But like, I think that team's easily pretty solid together, I would say. Because I think we're all pretty much agreeing that Chris Paul is making Dwight Howard a complete different.
Yes. So you guys both are in on.
What
I love about this is there's no wrong answers.
Well, yeah, it's hypothetical as fuck. Tell us we're wrong, we believe you.
Let me hear it.
But in my life,
so I feel like you guys are both. You guys are dying on the hill that the Dwight Howard trade happens.
Yep.
I definitely do.
I think so.
Yeah, I do too.
In the moment, as it was happening, Dwight Howard's the best center in the league.
Because they don't have that three yet. They don't have
that
three yet.
Lakers have to give up.
Andrew Bynum, they
have the exact same everything they give up in that trade. They already have
same left.
But they technically still have Powell because they don't have Chris Paul. But they could even have something crazier. But
see, I believe that Chris Paul would have brought out the best in Andrew Bynum. And they don't feel like they have to make.
That's a good question though. Do the Lakers know something about Andrew Bynum? Is that why they get rid of him?
Because he was not committed to.
Because he doesn't play us. I'm telling you, I don't think he plays another 15 games in the NBA after this.
We had the stint with the Cavs. You guys remember that?
Yeah, but he didn't play.
Yeah, but I'm talking valuable minutes as a starter. Like, he played trash minutes with the Cavs. Trash minutes. Like, he played Greg Oden minutes with the Heat.
Wasn't there some story that, like, he was messing around at practice with the Cavs, like, just chucking it from half court, just pretty much saying, like, I don't want to be here, just trade me? Do you guys remember hearing something about that?
I remember.
Was that the Cavs or the Sixers?
That was 3 teams in a row, probably. Like,
he did that everywhere. He did not want to play.
He got his 2 rings, said, I'm out of here.
That is a classic case, and I really believe what I'm about to say. You could put Dwight Howard in this camp, too. I think Dwight Howard, although he's adapted and prolonged his career a little longer, I think the mental approach between Dwight Howard and Andrew Bynum is not that far off. No. I think it's one of those cases, and you guys know this is a thing, where you're really big, so you're playing basketball. You might not necessarily love basketball.
Because you're massive.
Hey, go play. Big. When you're 10 years old,
big ass out
when
there.
You're 10 years old and you're 6 foot tall, hey, get out there on the floor. Just stand underneath the hoop. 100%. I think that's one of those cases where I don't think Bynum loved the game. No. I don't know if Dwight Howard loves the game.
I think he did, especially when he was younger. You could tell he loved.
I think this past couple years, Dwight Howard found love again for the sport.
There was
4 teams in a row after he left with the Lakers and then on with Houston.
The Hornets and everything. They got ugly. Yeah.
Like, why could he never add?
Kobe ruined him. And this was my take. I think Kobe ruined him just because Kobe, like we're talking about, alpha as fuck. Like, you guys, if you guys isn't my way, it's not that you're the highway because I've won 5 rings. You can't tell me anything else because I've won 5 times.
If I can't trust you and go to war with you, see ya.
So literally, I bet you he's at practice calling him a pussy, calling him soft, all that shit, like he did in the game.
Like
he did in the game.
He called him soft, but he was playing for the Rockets.
Like he does in the game. But this is my take. I think Chris Paul comes mama hen, and I think he takes Dwight Howard under the wing because we know Chris Paul loves his big men. You've seen it with Blake Griffin. You've seen it with he made DeAndre Jordan a freaking
Tyson Chandler.
He made him a 15-year career somehow. It doesn't even make sense. Man. You love Tyson Chandler, like you said, but I think he's got Chris Paul just understands the game. I was talking to you about this. I think he might understand the game more than like a LeBron or like a KD. He's just not that big and doesn't have as much talent like with the height and whatnot. Because like clearly we all look at the 6'9" guy over the 6'3" guy or 6'2", 6'1", 6 foot.
6'1", I'm pretty sure.
So like. You know what I'm saying? I think Chris Paul might have the smartest mind current NBA basketball, and I think he can understand how to just work with these guys. That's just me though. I could be wrong.
I like that.
I think he's a master puppeteer, dude. I really do. I think he's like got Kobe and like under his wing. Like I'm your right hand man. Trust me, you got me. But then at the same time, like he's probably talking shit about Dwight with Kobe, but then turning around texting Dwight like, "Hey bud, I hope you're okay. You had a great game tonight. Like we're gonna go out there and kill it tomorrow."
Yeah.
Like I really think so.
Sure.
I think this team only works because of Chris Paul, and we wouldn't even know about it until after they're all retired and whatnot. So, but I really think that would be it.
What about Chris Paul's stigma as a bad teammate before that though? Does that go away now? Like at that moment, does that go away? Because from like New Orleans, like he was.
I think New Orleans made him, or not New Orleans, but OKC. I think he was a baller in Houston. Don't get me wrong, but that year in OKC took everything away. Everything away from it.
But does that stop the second he gets to the Lakers?
I mean, winning heals everything.
Exactly.
Right?
I think he's a good leader if he wins, right?
Well, you got to think every other team he's ever been with. He hasn't been with a winner. Like 100% a winner. He hasn't been with one. So it's not like he looks at those guys any different than himself. He's probably like, all right, I'm king here. But when you go in and you got a guy named Kobe fucking Bryant who's right next to you and you got 5 rings, like, and you're with the Lakers, I think that just gives you something like, all right, dude, this guy knows what he's doing. I'm leader of the team, technically point guard, but I'm going to listen to Kobe because he's going to get us there. I think it's the perfect whirlwind of matching. I think in the one chance that we have in real life that they ended up getting Steve Nash, it just was the wrong time. If they could have somehow got Rondo even or something, it could have been the matchup. Even
Steve
with Rondo's
Nash the year before.
Steve Nash the year before, or even Rondo's same bad teammate thing. I think it all just works together so well because of like Kobe's stature and just Chris Paul's knowing of being a point guard. And Dwight Howard's clearly heightened skill and athleticism. I just think it all works out. And that's just me. Because clearly we never fucking know. But I just know with Steve Nash it did not fucking work whatsoever.
I think even if they don't trade trade for Dwight Howard, I think Andrew Bynum can not be a head case for one more year if he's about to win.
Yeah, I think
all right. Can he give you 75% of what Dwight Howard would have given you?
He can give you 75%.
83% probably.
I don't know. He's not that athletic, but I think 75% is enough.
Isn't he a way better free throw shooter?
Yeah,
he's going to knock down some free throws, which would add.
He's a better shooter overall by far. He's a better scorer in the post, but he's not as athletic. So in the situation he would be in, it wouldn't be the same.
So I'm gonna throw this back at you now. This is the full season 82.
Okay.
The
2012-2013 season.
The Lakers go 45-37 without Chris Paul, and they technically still have Dwight Howard and all that. Whatever. They finished 7th, and that's like we talked about. Kobe literally takes them. Yeah. What do you? Because you got to keep in mind the Clippers finished 4 seed 56-26.
No.
So that's what I'm saying. I think that Lakers team is way better than that Clippers team. So you got to kind of keep that in mind.
They're pushing for 60 wins.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad at 62 even if they really got together. Like if Dwight Howard's playing the way that we think he could play.
Or Andrew Bynum's not a head case.
Yeah. Or if Andrew Bynum stays the same that he even does in 2011, 2012.
If he's just a basketball player for another year.
100%.
And not a fucking mental.
I think they could be a 60-something team easily.
And in this scenario, they have Gasol and Bynum?
No, Gasol's gone. Gasol's gone.
Yeah, it would have been gone with the Chris Paul trade. So that's the thing.
That's right.
Even without a 4.
This is where it's tough.
He's long gone. Yeah, he's gone. Okay.
He's been gone.
Okay.
He's been gone. So they have Metta World Peace. Matt Barnes might be starting a small forward.
They might have got Thaddeus Young or something. Thaddeus Young.
Whatever 4 they have, including their...
Here's something. I'm not trying to blow your guys' mind right now, but is there a chance that they could have threw some extra picks and got Luis Scola or something? Like, because they had picks still.
I don't think...
And the money, so
they could... Because they can't make the money work if you don't have Luis Scola, because you need money to sign a free agent.
Somehow sign up a David West, who's a free agent that year.
Yeah.
Might have been big. I'm just saying. It could have... I think they could have worked
that market becomes so much more attractive at that point.
Yeah, my God.
Like, it was already like, you get to play with Kobe, but like, you get to play with old Kobe, so it's like, I want to shoot the ball.
They could have gone.
Now you get to go win.
The vet that's chasing the ring, that's still got a little bit in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But here's what I'm thinking, though. Look at that 2013 Spurs team. I think they match up pretty well.
They might beat the Lakers. They might.
It's gonna be. It's gonna come down.
Like, it's a shame we didn't get that.
7.
Oh my God. This is
7 games.
Tony Parker versus Chris Paul. Manu versus Kobe. Kawhi
was Kawhi off the bench that year?
I think he started.
He was in the beginning of the year, but by playoffs he was starting.
He was starting.
Yeah, because he was too good at defense.
He was just so good on defense.
they throw him on Kobe a little bit.
You have to throw him on Kobe.
That year, I don't think he's touching Kobe yet. 2013-14, if he gave LeBron fits, he's giving Kobe fits easily. Wow. This is Bynum
or Howard, whichever one's there.
That's what it would come down to. It would come down to that. I'm telling you right. It would come down.
And Tim Duncan's probably playing whatever center that is off the floor.
If we see, all right, how about this? If we saw MVP Dwight Howard from the Magic going up against Tim Duncan, do we relook at? Do we?
Him up still.
Well, I think Dwight Howard's still giving him some. I think they're giving each other buckets.
I give Tim Duncan the advantage, but I don't think it's a blowout.
I think they're both. I don't think they could stop each other. I think they might each get a block on each other or something. Man. But I think they're each giving them 25 apiece to each other.
I think
easily.
I just don't think Dwight Howard's skilled enough to give Tim Duncan buckets.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just completely looking at it like he's probably going to get 8 lobs a game. 8 lobs a game from Chris Paul and Kobe.
But I think if you got Tony Parker playing over screens and Tim Duncan still playing that fast, slim defense that he plays, I'm thinking he protects the rim just fine.
Damn, it'd be interesting. That would be. So I think they would beat each other. Is this a fair take? I think they might beat each other up so much in the Western Conference Finals.
They lose
7
in the finals.
games. That whoever plays the Heat might lose.
Do they turn the AC off against?
Do they get the cramp game in LA? Do they get a cramp game in LA instead of San Antonio?
No, because they don't turn the fucking AC off.
And then would we finally get the LeBron Kobe matchup that we've been robbed twice up?
Oh my god!
That we would have been robbed.
We never got that.
We would have been.
That was one of my questions.
It's the greatest what if without Chris Paul.
We should have had it in 09.
Should have easily had it in 09. LeBron fucked up then.
Should have had it in 2010.
He balled the fuck out in 2010. He did what he
could have had it in 202011.
Kobe fucked it up that year.
Choked.
Kobe fucked it. Well, Dirk kind of just went. It was mix.
It was mixed
because Dirk Dirk Mavericks team
to be fair, but they
turned into something.
If
unicorn.
Stojakovic with the chopper.
If Chris Paul goes like we're talking about, if he goes, maybe in 2012
we might get that.
That's the year.
Wait! You guys realize what I just said? 09, 010, 11, 12.
We could have 4 years in a row of LeBron, Kobe.
We never got it.
Never.
It could have been 2-2 going into the 2013-14 season.
Oh. You tell me right now that
what 2010 the fuck? Why isn't Vince McMahon running the NBA?
I am so jealous you said that because that was on my list of things to bring up.
Why? I've been trying to hold it back because I wanted a premature come on 2011, 2012 and say, oh, this is it. Do we get the matchup? But I was like, nah, I just don't see it.
Yet.
But 2012-13 or 2013-14, that matchup had to have happened once, at least once.
How big does Chris Bosh
play? Well, so here it is right here. Here's this is where this all goes right here. With the 2012-13 finals, we see the Heat unlock some demon of the Spurs who come out in 14 that we're not going to be beat. So you don't see probably a demonic possessed Spurs if they don't even make it to play the Heat and blow it in the game 6, which is another great what if. But
why is Tim Duncan not on the floor for that free throw?
That's the whole. But that's gonna. I don't even talk about it. That's gonna be a what if. That's why we're not doing it. That's why we're not doing it right now because this is the first one, and I didn't want to get into it. But
talked about that one.
Dude,
that's on the table.
That's a teaser for.
I'm not fucking kidding. We'd have to at least have that matchup once.
At least once. And as basketball fans, we were robbed of it.
We kind of got the little All-Star game where Kobe said, "You're my little kid," but LeBron wasn't taking it serious, and Kobe was all serious, so you don't know.
And nobody's going to remember, and only the diehards like us are going to remember.
Right. Cares. Not to be rude, it's way more remembered now, because it's not. I don't even want to bring it what if, but Kobe passed away sadly, so all of his clips come up even more than they would if he still was alive. But yeah, that can't even be a what if. So, but all right. So, do you think, say 2012, 2013, and 2013-14? Because this is in 2013-14 if Kobe doesn't get hurt because he's got the workloads off of him a little bit. He doesn't push himself that hard in the end of the season. Maybe saves it for the playoffs, but then gets the off season. They come back, third year with Chris Paul, second year with Dwight Howard, who hopefully had a pretty good run. Maybe I know he already averaged 18 and 12 or something with them already, but it was a terrible 18 and 12 with Steve Nash.
He played 40
and it was all garbage minutes you remember that one time they was fucking around because they were getting beat so bad? Or the one game they won really good, but they were still, not even placed. They freaking hit that 3 or something the next year. Or whatever. Yeah, that shit was stupid. But, yeah, I think we could at least see the LeBron-Kobe matchup at least once in that time.
But the problem is, I think we're really skipping over the fact that this is, going into, the greatest stretch a team may have ever had in the NBA of the Warriors just dominating from the outside.
2013-14. Correct. Let me know if you guys remember this. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm remembering this as wasn't that the year they played the Spurs in the second round, and it was like, I think they pushed them to like 6, and it was like really the first time I remember that like Steph started heating up, and it was like appointment viewing, like it's blowing up on Twitter. Yeah, everyone's got to turn on this game.
And then the next season, that's when the Clippers were really good that season, and they beat the Spurs, and then the next season after that, the Warriors beat the Clippers.
Yeah,
and they go,
and then changed basketball forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
It blows my mind.
Do the Lakers beat that Warriors team?
Here's the other thing. Here's another thing to think about. Here's another thing to think about.
This breaks my brain. Honestly.
Going into the 13-14 season. Now, I don't know if this came up in your guys' research. Correct me if I'm wrong. I just saw this real quick. I'm trying to remember. Chris Paul, when he would have come to the Lakers, I believe still had 2 years on his contract.
He did have 2.
So he would have been due for a big payday after that second year. Yes, he would have,
and they still had all the cap room because they didn't sign anybody yet.
And they don't lose it with Dwight or nothing.
Because they don't sign Kobe yet either for that massive deal that was like the worst deal ever, but like still.
That would have been after
he's grandfathered in.
That would have been after the following year.
Yep.
Easily worst contract of all time, but it's grandfathered in.
It's worth it. Yeah, it's worth it.
I liked it. I loved
it a lot.
But that deal probably doesn't happen.
No, because he doesn't have to.
He wouldn't even want it. He wouldn't even want it.
He's gone. He's retiring. He's won his ring.
I think he's going for 7. He wins 6, he's going for 7. He's got to. He wins 20, 12, 13 somehow. Say he makes it and they beat the Heat somehow.
Not happening. But
just say somehow. Hypothetically, Chris Paul goes off. Dwight Howard gives Chris Bosh fits. LeBron chokes. But I would honestly love to see the D-Wade Kobe matchup. That honestly is the most slept on matchup. Because we think about LeBron, Kobe, but like... Dude, they went at it, dude, and they loved it. They loved going at each other. D-Wade broke his nose, Kobe's nose in the All-Star game. Like,
sure did.
It was that year, I'm pretty sure, actually. So, like, it would have been beautiful to just see that kind of transpire into the playoffs and into the finals. And, like, say he is at 6 going into 2013-14, because that's the last year Kobe's got. Because he doesn't even have it. He doesn't have it in our real life, but in this hypothetical world, he's got it, and he had just won his 6th. He's going all out for his 7th. I don't know if Kobe Bryant's being stopped for a 7th ring. I just don't know. I just don't know if he is. With another year with Chris Paul and Dwight Howard, who's still only 27, like, are you joking?
But you know he's walking into those front offices the first day of the offseason with the Lakers and saying, do whatever the fuck you got to do.
You got to get him paid.
All of them.
Get me help. We're getting number 7. I got to beat MJ.
You got to get him paid.
They might, honestly, dude, they might even go nuts and grab some, like, isn't 2013-14 the year that the Celtics blew up? So, like, I know KG doesn't go on to do anything.
They
just know they might have maybe snuck.
They all trade. They all trade for the Brooklyn Nets, and they get all the Nets picks, and that's how they could have maybe. I
don't. As much of a KG guy as I am, I don't think he's not doing anything for 13-14. Wasn't there rumors of them trying to trade for Marcus All forever? They still had the picks.
There was always out there when Powell was there. They were going to try.
That's what they're trying. They're trying to come bring him back.
They could even grab like a Tyson Chandler maybe after that Dallas Mavericks year. Like they could have grabbed something, but.
How did the Mavs not?
They could even. Oh, here's another one. I don't even. Oh no, I don't think Paul Pierce left yet. Did he?
No, he went to the Nets with KG.
Yeah.
Well, the very next year in 15-16, or I guess it would be 2 years. Yeah, it'd be 2 years. He with the Washington Wizards. He
had that bank shot.
And then the very next one, it was late. The next one was late, but he still drained it to take him to. Oh, that was crazy.
Against the Hawks, of all people.
I would love to. All right, guys. So let's get it. All right, let me ask you some more questions. Sorry.
Some more rapid fire.
I want this.
I got some for you guys too.
All right. So, all right, we'll just stay with the West Side. Are they beating? Do you guys think they're beating the Spurs either of the years 2012 with 13 or 13-14?
I think so. I think they're getting
because at least one. Here's my take on it.
I would agree. They get him once.
Here's my take at it. If they lose 2012, 2013, that still leads the Spurs to go on to lose Game 6, and they're not losing in 13-14. I don't care who is in front of them. They could have been the Warriors team. That Spurs team was so pissed off.
They don't miss.
They weren't losing. They weren't losing.
No, the ball movement was a thing.
That might have been the best basketball we've ever seen.
If I remember correctly, didn't they only lose 4 games that entire playoffs?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they didn't go any past 6. I think they had 1 6 game. It was the first round, and then they swept, and then they won in 4, and then they won in 5, or won in 5 and 5. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? They were not being beat. But if they somehow would have won, somehow beat the Heat, and that shot never even happens, then maybe 13-14. That could have been the year the Lakers got it. But I would agree with you guys. I would like to say they get them one of the years. No, you're good. But I just don't think.
2013-14 though, Kobe's 35 going into that year with a lot of miles.
He only played 6 games.
Now in this scenario, he doesn't have the Achilles, but.
Well, that's just crazy because the last thing we see of Kobe Bryant is like at his prime, like hitting the 2. I guess that's not prime, but hitting the 2 free throws with the Achilles blown out, like
limping to
the way he, like you said, averaging 38.6, whatever, and then even flashing it forward a couple years later, where he dropped 60 in his last game. Like the dude knows when he can empty the tank, and I think that Chris Paul and Dwight Howard could have carried him throughout the year, like letting Kobe sit about 15 to 20 games, no joke. Like, hey, you ice up. Like we see him with the big ice packs on his knee and his shoulders. I think they could have walked him into the playoffs at like 3rd seed, 4th seed, and then done their thing.
I'm thinking that Chris Paul and Dwight Howard are easily a 50 win team by themselves.
I think, especially the way that Dwight Howard would play in my mind.
Just the lobs that you would get, and then Chris Paul dissecting the team.
All right, so here's another one for you.
The defense would be ridiculous.
Fun fact. These Rookie of the Years that I wrote down were just fun, because 2011, 2012, like I said, was Kyrie. 2012-13's Dame Lillard.
Yes, sir.
Like, what? And then 13-14. 13-14, the funniest one's Michael Carter Williams.
Had one good season.
He had one. His rookie year was his one good season.
And then he just forgot how to not turn the ball over.
So here's my other question.
Was that the year? Hang on. Was that the year the Sixers won like 9 games or something?
Yes, they won 20. They won 22 games that year.
I thought they won.
I think they won 22 games that year because I remember Michael Carter Williams averaged like 7 turnovers a game.
Yeah, they were dogging him because he almost had a quadruple double with the turnovers.
And then it was like, oh, he's a rookie, he'll figure it out. He never figured out how to not turn the ball over.
Yeah. He was the original freaking
triple-double.
Ben Simmons.
Bro, he was the triple. Now, he could shoot a little bit.
Yeah, he could shoot a little bit. Yeah.
Tony Roten on that team, though, that dude could not shoot.
No.
All right.
Robert Covington.
So you're talking about the Rookies of the Year.
Yeah.
Let me hear it.
Where were you going? No, were you going somewhere with that?
I was going to ask you a question about the Lakers, but you got to keep going.
Go ahead.
Let's hear it. What's the question?
What are the peak of their powers? The LA Lakers. What is the absolute best outcome that could have happened in those 3 seasons? In those 3 seasons with the hypothetical Kobe doesn't get hurt in that 3rd season, 35-year-old Kobe, 3rd year with Chris Paul, 2nd year with Dwight Howard. If they kept him, if it worked out. Let me hear it. What do you guys think? What's the peak of their powers? What is the best case scenario for the LA Lakers?
They lose in the conference finals or the finals in, what would that be, 2012. Tough loss. They come back 12-13, motivated, angry, find a way. And I think they probably just get 1.
I really think that they come in that 2nd season with Chris Paul, Kobe Bryant, Metta World Peace. They signed Thaddeus Young to that massive deal that he got in Philly.
Do it, baby. Do it, baby.
I did not think Thad Young would come up in this.
I love that. I love Thaddeus Young. I looked at the free agents and I was like, Thaddeus fucking Young.
Because he goes to the Sixers. Rebounder, that massive deal that they got from Philadelphia. And then they get, if they even have Andrew Bynum still, and then they get a bench that, like, if they get rid of Steve Blake and pick up Gilbert Arenas, who was playing in China and only couldn't do it because they kept fucking with his contract about playing in China and not playing in the NBA. So, like, if they get rid of Steve Blake and get Gilbert Arenas instead, off the bench to get buckets, are you for a championship? I think that team is unbeatable. Like, I'm the biggest Dwayne Wade fan you will ever find. Heat is my favorite team of all time. They beat the Heat.
Yeah, Kobe's not losing to LeBron. I don't give a fuck.
In that, like, the Heat beat the Spurs, and I'm thinking that Lakers team beats that Spurs team. I don't care how beautiful basketball you play, you're not stopping that.
I
agree. Can't stop that.
I think I'm in agreement.
I mean, I get it. Like, that's beautiful. But, like, that team was better than the Heat team that won the year before. And that year before team beat the Spurs who were playing that good basketball. Like, I mean, because Chris Bosh can only do so much. By far the second. He was definitely the most valuable player on that team, by the way. Chris Bosh was. Don't care what anybody says. But there's only so much Chris Bosh can do with that. Like, you can't contain Thaddeus Young and Andrew Bynum or fucking Dwight Howard. You got Joel Anthony helping you out, maybe a little bit of Udonis Haslem.
My favorite Chris Bosh take is that we didn't realize how much he actually sacrificed until we saw K-Love, and we've seen K-Love couldn't do it. Couldn't even hold Chris Bosh's jockstrap. Like,
and Kevin Love was still balling,
bitching. Like, I know he was balling, got a ring, whatever. But he was bitching the entire year. Like,
Chris
my
Bosh
mental
didn't
health.
say shit. Took all of the criticism.
the pterodactyl memes or whatever the
dinosaur memes.
Oh my god, he was getting murdered.
Roasted.
rough.
Every time he'd come up, like they do their like post games. Oh my god. Anyway, this isn't about the Heat,
guy.
but I loved how you brought up Chris Bosh.
I love Chris Bosh.
Well, the same thing kind of happened to Kevin Love too.
Yeah,
like he was. What was it? The don't fit out, fit in, or something. LeBron
Yeah,
was all those subtweeting him and everything like that. So
yeah,
it's kind of funny. They both kind of went through the same thing off the court too with the ridicule they got. So can I piggyback off that question?
Let me hear it.
So we kind of talked about it earlier. We alluded to it. LeBron, right?
Yeah.
Loses in 07. Baby LeBron.
Baby Bron.
Okay. Lose in 11.
Yeah.
Right? So he's 0-2 heading into this hypothetical first year we're talking about.
Yeah.
If LeBron doesn't get it done in 2012 and he's 0-3.
And he goes against the Lakers that next season.
The pressure really starts mounting.
There's just no way that LeBron loses that next year because if you get Dwayne Wade to hand you the keys like that confidence you get.
That's something I can't wait to talk about a Heat podcast.
That confidence you get is much better.
Because Dwayne Wade carried them through the Eastern Conference Finals.
So he goes.
Yeah, the game
3 years in a row against Indiana. If it wasn't for Dwayne Wade,
Paul George, the and one that they didn't call off the glass game.
All right, here's another scenario. Ended at 2012, 2013, right before we go to 13-14. There's a fucking scenario out there. LeBron's 0-4.
I'm glad you said that. I was just gonna say.
Sorry for stepping in your way.
Or he's possibly 1-3.
1-3.
So that was
and it's not even. And it's almost not even him.
That was my next question for you guys. LeBron's referred to his 4 years in Miami as like that was him going to college. Like he got his education, learned about how to win, everything like that.
Does he learn?
Does he go back to Cleveland if you're possibly 1-3, 0-4, or is he sticking out in Miami?
If you're 1-3, I think he still goes. But if you're 0-4,
well, here was always my argument. I thought because that's what I came ready to talk.
Or he gets 1 in 4 years in Miami, 1 in 4.
This question's going to come up when we do the Game
losses.
6 rebound, because I'm a firm believer if they lost that series that year, 2012, 2013, they were winning 13-14 because we didn't see that demonic Spurs. Like, that demonic Spurs is a real thing.
Do you think really the roles just kind of reverse?
It's reverse, yeah.
It's almost like the first year against Cavs Warriors and the Warriors Cavs next year, where like the injuries kind of just offset and they each sneak one out, kind of like the Pistons way back when the Bad Boys Pistons.
So bad,
the Bad Boys Pistons, I thought,
okay.
they remember the one they lost that they should have won, and then they won the one they should have lost. Yeah, so
okay.
I think in the NBA sometimes I think it equals out, and I almost think that's how it would work with the 2012-13 or 13-14 season with this hypothetical Lakers. I think they would get one.
They have to get one.
That's the peak of their powers. I think they get one. I think they lose in the Western Conference Finals in 2012-13. And then 11-12, I think it would be really cool for them if they could win round one, at least get something going. 7-game series, maybe round 2 in the first year.
So they get 1.
Yeah.
Kobe has 6.
He does have 6.
How does that change the all-time debates?
He's still the second best point.
He's still the second best, but I think it's LeBron Kobe now. I think it's LeBron Kobe now. Because then Kobe would beat LeBron, and then that would be all of our diehard Kobe takes would be, it's Kobe. But then LeBron would still go on to run all these years and do his thing and make it to the finals for how long? Still lose, but like make it to the finals and whatnot, and probably win with LA. Then it would be like the argument. I don't know.
So if Kobe has 6, does it come closer to a 3-man argument?
It's definitely a closer one. He's definitely the greatest Laker of all time at that point. You have to say it. Like either him or Magic.
I think he still is the greatest.
I meant like definitive.
In my opinion,
like definitive.
Yeah, definitively.
Like
I agree with
say Magic Johnson is, but like definitive best Laker of all time. And then he's guaranteed second best shooting guard, and he's top 3 best players of all time.
Wow. And then
with 6 rings.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that D-Wade doesn't get 3 or 4 or 3.
D-Wade is not.
He'd get 2.
Damn. Does D-Wade still? Is he still a top 5 shooting guard?
Yeah, D-Wade's 06 season. Or like D-Wade's rookie year through 2011. 2011. And then if you really count his Eastern Conference carries against LeBron, the man's still top. He's probably number 3 shooting guard in a lot of people's eyes.
But to me, yes, but some people are saying James Harden nowadays. But I'm
not the James Harden guy.
Can't sleep on Jerry West either.
Oh yeah, true.
Well, the logo, obviously. The logo, yeah.
I always think of Jerry West. Too. I always think of Jerry West as a point guard, though. I don't know why. I kind of like Allen Iverson's technically a shooting guard, but I always think of it as a point guard, like because all the clips we see, that's him with the ball dribbling down the court, running through everybody. So I always get that mixed up.
Okay. Can I fire off a question at you guys?
Go for it.
I love it.
All right. We kind of alluded to this. Does the OKC trio get split up? Harden, Westbrook, Durant.
Man, It has to.
If Chris Paul goes to the Lakers, they were like the team.
They were the team.
This is like they're next.
This is
they're next,
the
right?
Team. And they really start Thabo Cephalosha over James fucking Harden.
Was this when Scotty Brooks just loved Kendrick Perkins and played him way too much?
Way too much.
See, the worst part was, like, I get why you do it. You have to do it. You have to give the defensive guy the first 5 possessions of the game. You have to get him rolling, get him into the game.
He should have been on the floor in crunch time.
Fuck, you cannot play him in center.
Hot take. I think Kendrick Perkins made Serge Ibaka look so good. That's why they picked him over James Harden. I think you take Kendrick off that team.
He plays center and he's not that good. You are
He's
right.
Looking a little smaller. He's probably settling for them jumpers like he was at the end of his career. He's playing bigger guys. Like he's got Marcus Gasol. Like, what are you doing with him?
You're not taking him to the rack. You're not fast.
I'm just saying.
I think Kendrick Perkins made him look really good. That's why when he played
That's
at
a what
center,
if. I can't wait to do OKC's what if. Oh.
What were his? I want to know what his stats were in the fourth quarter when Kendrick Perkins wasn't playing on defense, because he was averaging 3 blocks a game at power forward, but Kendrick Perkins was playing.
Monster.
But Kendrick Perkins was playing paint and just locking that shit down on the left side, and all he had to worry about was one side of the rim. Because if you got Kendrick Perkins over there, you're not really worried too much. He's massive, and he plays really good defense.
I remember K Perk's years in Cleveland made me.
He was terrible.
It was a rough look.
Oh,
it was a rough look.
Yeah.
But then Boston years were, if he didn't tear his ACL, they'd probably win a second one.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Back to back against the Lakers.
Yeah. KG's not hurt in 09.
So
anyway,
do they split those guys up? Does Sam Presti, does he pay James Harden?
You can't.
No,
he doesn't,
I still just because of his blow up in that 11-12 series,
I wish he would have so bad.
Were they ahead of schedule making the finals in 2012?
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
Way too fast. When everybody else got hurt, they were too fast.
This is the second time now. It's hindsight 2020. Like,
you're right.
We don't realize at the time like how good those 3 were going to be. Like, because I was to this day, I'm still Westbrook is like, I know OKC loves him so much because KD left and shit, but still to me Westbrook's the least of the 3 that I'm taking. Yeah, I'm taking James Harden and good old KD every single time. And I mean that's just me though. A lot of people like Westbrook. There are a lot of lovers of Westbrook.
Kevin Durant, though.
Losing James Harden.
Damn. Do you guys remember the mom just made pizza roll memes of the OKC?
Yeah. I loved it.
I'm telling you right now that it's gonna be up on this video now.
So good.
Right now.
So good.
I'm gonna write that down. So
yeah, whoever came up with that.
Fantastic.
Mom made pizza roll.
Yeah, it's amazing.
James Harden.
All right, so here's your. You asked about the LeBron thing. If LeBron even goes back to Cleveland, I know we're gonna really dive into that one day when we do the Game 6 what if. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna say the same answer then. I think LeBron, if he would have somehow lost 2012, 2013, and then somehow wins 2013-14, or even. I think if he loses all them years, yeah, he's leaving. But if he wins 13-14, especially 13-14, like if he would have somehow swapped with the Spurs or if somehow beat the Lakers or whatever it would have been with Chris Paul in 14, he can't leave. You can't leave off a win. There's no way.
2. You can't leave off of 2 for sure.
You can't.
No way.
You can't. You
cannot. Especially when you promised more than
1,
3.
Not 2.
Didn't
not
he say
3.
Like 7?
He said,
not
4,
4,
not 5,
not 6. Yeah.
He went crazy. He went
nuts.
He was feeling himself a little bit.
As he should have been, to be fair.
It was like his return to Cleveland.
You get your best
friend,
Miami. And then Chris Bosh, who's an all-star center on your team,
so
and you're thinking you're not winning?
I think we can agree on that, though. LeBron probably doesn't
leave. Doesn't come back to Cleveland.
In 2014.
And he's not a hero anymore.
Again, assuming no catastrophic injuries, no,
Does he sign?
Honestly, probably has. If I'm being real, probably still a scary-ass player. Probably a scarier player than what he turned into.
Yeah. Especially when you have to like.
And then little Kyrie Irving. What is Kyrie Irving? Like we're gonna talk about that in the Miami Heat, whatever.
Well,
but
that's
all right, let me throw some stuff at you guys. Just some shit that I thought of that with this Chris Paul trade, there would be nothing of it. There'd be no Lob City.
None.
Can I piggyback a question off that? Real
Go
quick?
for it. If you ask the same question I'm gonna ask, I'd be happy. Go for it.
I don't know. I'd be pretty impressed if you thought of this one. Now bear with me on this, okay? Does Donald Sterling still own the Clippers?
Hell no.
Yeah, no.
Hang on. Now, by no means am I defending this guy.
No, I know what you mean.
I know what you're saying.
I know what you mean because they not
listen,
the playoffs because it's not even a thing.
The Clippers don't make it to the level they're at now, right?
No,
probably, or at least in this time frame, they're not making it in the second round of the playoffs. They're not at that level they're
and your
at.
best
Take it one step
If
further.
you guys remember, when that story broke, I think it was the second round in 2014.
And they flipped those jerseys out and they lost to the Warriors.
Don't you guys find it kind of interesting how big news stories break during times like that?
Yeah, they always do. Time of crisis.
Yeah. Oh,
Shit
yeah.
has to
Like
go
when
down.
someone's in the spotlight, that's when you have the tell-all story.
Yep.
If the Clippers are sitting at home or they're, in Cancun, I don't know if that story comes out.
You're 100% right. It doesn't
And I don't
happen.
know if Donald Sterling is the level he's at to whoever got that scoop to release that clip or that. Wasn't it an
girlfriend.
audio recording?
It was
Yeah,
his
yeah.
girlfriend, though.
She recorded
Does
it. Yeah.
she have as much to gain?
No. Take
You
it a
guys-
step
you see
further.
where
No,
I'm-
take
see,
it.
I
Take it
tried
a
to
step
take this
further.
one next level.
Take it a step further. The Clippers don't even make enough money to even rebrand. They're still the old LA Clippers basketball logo.
With the cursive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, with the light blue, like the Lions looking colorways, like
And the whole entire big brother, little brother thing gets even more pronounced
Bigger.
in LA.
would there be a chance that the Clippers are the next team to move? Switch cities if this does stay, because the Clippers keep losing, not even make playoffs. Like
Blake Griffin's gone in 4 years.
Is Blake Griffin still Blake Griffin? That's the next question.
Blake
Because he
Griffin
was coming off Rookie of the Year.
Would Blake Griffin
when
still
Chris
be Blake
Paul-
Griffin?
No, he's not. He's a fucking center who doesn't know any fucking. post
He
moves.
probably has maybe 2 of those 50 dunks that he has.
He's one of those, like, he'll put up good stats on a really bad team.
How many over/under 5 seasons? DeAndre Jordan, does he even play 5 seasons in the NBA without Chris Paul?
His defense.
Because Chris
was
Paul
elite.
gives this man like a 12-year season or a 12-season career. I just want you guys.
He
to
plays
know.
defense though.
He
plays
does
defense.
but like, I think because if you watch him in the beginning of his career,
He was
like, I went back and
super-
watched
he
him
didn't know
clips. He's
basketball.
like JaVale McGee.
He didn't know basketball. Yeah,
a little
for sure.
smarter, like just like a little. I guess more into it with his body, I should say. But still, Doppy,
Like a deer learning how to walk.
Doppy, kind of like DeAndre, not DeAndre.
Marcus
but
Camby-esque.
Deontay
I like
Wilder.
that. I like
Deontay
that.
Wilder when he got rocked by good old Tyson Fury, like that. The
Bambi
tall,
looks?
yeah, the tall baby
Yeah.
legs. Yeah, it's kind of what he's got. I think Chris Paul and Blake, that whole team, Jamal Crawford out there. We don't get Jamal fucking Crawford. Are you like we do? Like he's always
get
been
the-
the
we
man
get
in
the
the Hawks and
Blazers.
stuff, but like we don't see the between the leg lob to Blake Griffin. We don't see all the beautiful
Brandon
hand
Knight.
threes.
Brandon Knight's still alive.
Brandon Knight is
You know
still
the dunk
alive.
I'm talking about.
No,
Yeah,
but, hey,
yeah,
time out.
Brandon Knight is alive.
I love Brandon Knight, to be fair. As a
He had an
basketball
awful
player,
year that year. He
And
got
this
crossed
worst
up by Kyrie
Yeah,
in
it
that
was a rough
All-Star
year.
game.
It's a rough
Missed
year.
the wide open layup off the front of the
No,
rim.
that wasn't that one.
Was that the next season?
It was the next season. He
Oh,
played for the Bucks. He
still,
played for the
still
Bucks.
though, he got slammed on, and then I think he got crossed
So
again. But
we can agree the Clippers are nowhere near where they are. Donald Sterling, look, guys,
Donald
guy's a
Sterling
piece
might-
of shit.
No, I know what you mean.
Like,
though.
he's
It's
gonna be
that's
outed at
out of
some
the
but he's an
spot.
owner, I guess. Still, so
Is he still?
I think he could be.
I don't know.
When you
He
put it
could
that way, I
still
think
own
he
it.
is.
He could still be in the. Wow.
All right,
think
so here's the one that I was really thinking of that was so tough to fucking ask because like it sounds so S9, S10, S11. It sounds so bad, but the Dwight Howard that we have in our heads, does he become that star where we're sitting here? Is he better than Shaq? Or not better than Shaq, but like this
Shaq
closer.
level?
Because you know how he takes Superman and all that, and everybody hates him now for it. Like, because he's nowhere close to Shaq, even though his first like 5 years are like
was Superman.
Shaq's
He was
numbers.
Superman.
But if he stayed Superman, Dwight Howard, what
out
is
the phone booth.
and say they somehow snuck 2 out in LA, or at least 1, and he's got that 1 for sure with Kobe. Like, what are we saying now? What 3-1 is that, or 4-1? 4-1.
Is he a top
But the
3
numbers,
center?
he's definitely a Hall of Famer. There's not even
Oh,
a question. I
guaranteed.
know or technically he'd be a
He's a-
2-ringer. I don't know. He'd probably somehow make it to the Lakers still, or like again.
I wouldn't put him. I wouldn't say better than Shaq, but he could potentially be in that conversation with your Patrick Ewings, your David Robinsons.
He would be better than Patrick Ewing,
Patrick Ewing didn't win.
because Pat, that's his only. He had the numbers, but like
He didn't win.
Hakeem,
the Patrick Ewing.
he could
effect.
be in the conversation with Hakeem
See,
Olajuwon.
Didn't Hakeem
possibly.
get back to back? And then
Hakeem went back to back
Yeah.
with 94,
95 Rockets
Yeah,
when
Yeah.
MJ was
because
playing
96
baseball.
baseball.
98 was
Yeah.
it.
and then he was also losing to Penny Hardaway and Shaq.
Yeah.
So your question, is Dwight Howard regarded in the same breath as
Like
Shaq?
it's like okay, so like you know how kids our age nowadays are like LeBron
Recency
fans
bias?
and our parents are Jordan fans. Like if we argued with our generation above us with LeBron fucking Jordan, we're gonna be sitting there LeBron. They're gonna be not us three
I know what you
technically,
mean. Well, me, yeah,
but like
but you
kids
guys
younger
know.
than us would be like LeBron James, and then all the older guys can be oh no you guys are fried Michael Jordan. And I think it would be that similar conversation between Shaq and Dwight Howard, not ring wise. But it's somehow an
gotta
argument
see
between LeBron and freaking
it's like
Jordan.
a generational disconnect. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I see what you're
because
saying.
The recency bias is there, yeah,
and then
for
you
sure.
still get the dunk contest performances, like, because you had those in Orlando. Like,
Those throws are
it's
fucking
everything
insane.
good about Dwight Howard, And you just take the bad part away. You don't get the next year where he completely gets the bitch stamp.
The shoulder disintegrates.
LeBron, or not LeBron, but Kobe's in his fucking, you're soft. Yeah. And, like, so I think that conversation's way tighter, though, at least. Because we hate Dwight Howard now as the NBA fan. Like, or I shouldn't say hate, but, like, a lot of people do. Like, they don't like him. And then, here was one of my other favorite takes. Do we ever see a CP3 meltdown? That he was known for I think 3 times with the Clippers.
It wasn't even a meltdown though. He got hurt.
Well, no, that was with Houston.
He got hurt. He tore his hamstring in the Western Conference Finals with the Clippers.
Yeah, he did both. But they did have that.
He did have a blow-up game.
Game 6 against Houston or whatever that. Josh Smith came back from 26 down in the 4th.
Josh Smith.
With no James Harden on the...
Mm-hmm. Literally on the bench with a towel over his head.
All right, so Chris Paul might not be in charge of the meltdowns, but he's a part of meltdowns. He's a part of 3. For sure. 2,
and he's Chris Paul, so he's definitely to blame.
So, like, and hopefully he doesn't have one in the finals this year, but you know what I'm saying? Like, and then if he doesn't have the meltdowns, how many more teams does he go to? Because after the Clippers, he goes to Houston, Phoenix, Oklahoma City, and then Cleveland, the Clippers. So, but he goes with 3 other teams. How many more seasons does Chris Paul play after the 13-14 if they win one with Kobe? And he's not chasing the ring anymore. So that's the only reason he's playing right now. I don't know
if he's still playing right now.
I don't think so. Because I think we're all in agreement as well. That OKC season didn't happen.
Never happened.
He's retaring after that Houston year, for sure. If they lose, he's retiring.
He's got to.
That OKC season last year changed him. It was almost
like an audition to, like, hey,
I can
take a lesser role. I can take a team of really young guys, and we'll make the playoffs, and I'll make everyone around me better.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, what a guy.
Yeah.
That was crazy to me, too, because that's the stat, the new team percentage that he's always, like, when Chris Paul goes over there. It was nuts because there was a time the year before where Russell Westbrook's a god in Oklahoma City, like triple-double, 2 years in a row, almost 3 years in a row. And then they had almost a 600 win percentage, and Chris Paul takes them to almost a 700, like, or almost 650. So, like, still somehow even makes it better when you just, like, it was like a fuck you to the Houston Rockets. It's like, oh, you want to take Westbrook? Are you joking me? Like, are you joking? Okay, fine, I'll go to his hometown. And everybody thought I was going to force my way out of there. And it's like, no,
really did.
I literally carried this team to the fucking playoffs and almost beat the Houston Rockets. Took them to 7 games. Like, that season right there is literally, it's the resurgence of Chris Paul somehow, even though he always has been the same. It was just, I don't think without that, like, because if he already wins one, he's not hungry to keep winning. You know, he's not even going to keep trying. He didn't get fucked. Yeah, he didn't get fucked over by Houston. He's not the same. He didn't get fucked over by Houston.
He's not playing like he has something to prove, like he does right now.
He didn't blow the couple ones with the Clippers that he's still trying to fight back to prove. So, like, that's what I'm saying. It's pretty impressive. But here's real quick to get into it before we completely wrap this up. This one right here really blew my mind. Are you guys ready for the fucking list of fucking point guards? I just went with point guards. I didn't want to go with all the athletes, but, like, all the point guards that Chris Paul has outlasted since 2005.
So, like, same draft class?
Or no, I put that as even younger, by the way, but like he was drafted in 2005. That was his rookie year. So I'm saying the guys that were on the leading list of assists, though, like Steve Nash and Jason Kidd and Chauncey Billups, were still in there. So, but technically they were older, so they wouldn't outlast. But he was up with them, I should say, at least. So you can put the Nash Kidd, Chauncey Billups, Andre Miller, and Iverson all like
in one box,
like in that. But like he still was performing with them as a rookie year.
Oh,
like,
yeah, he was
finished top 3, and it's ridiculous. So so then Darren Williams, Baron Davis, T.J. Ford, Raymond Felton, Tony Parker, freaking Jose Calderon, Rajon Rondo, Derrick Rose. I say Russell Westbrook too. Yeah. I don't care what you guys. I don't know if you guys are against that. Ricky Rubio, John Wall, Mike Conley, Kyle Lowry, Ty Lawson, Jeff Teague, and Eric Bledsoe. And then the only ones that I would even say that are still in there that you can argue that are better are Dame and Steph, and then maybe Kyrie.
But all 3 of them younger than him.
All 3 of them way younger than him. And they're still an argument if Chris Paul's better, other than Steph and Dame. I'm taking them 2 over Chris Paul. Yeah, but that's just because they can shoot out of the gym.
They're the best.
But that list that I just fucking read off, and that's only point guards, and that wasn't even backup point guards. All starting point guards.
I would say TJ
that were like
got hurt.
The man at least 2 years.
TJ Ford got hurt. Number 1.
Yeah, he just never really got to go.
His back just.
But like Tony Parker, Jose Calderon, Rajon Rondo, Derrick Rose was the saddest one to even have.
That is the worst one to put on there.
Russell Westbrook, that's the impressive one where it's like.
No.
Westbrook's still more athletic, but it's like
shoot.
Yeah, Chris Paul's a winner, dude. He's not. I just don't get it. Ricky Rubio. Do you remember how Ricky Rubio? They were so quick to like throw Chris Paul off the number one like point guard, and him and Rondo. They're like, oh, it's Ricky Rubio for sure. John Wall.
Oh, he was
even before John Wall got hurt, I was still taking Chris Paul over. Like John Wall was that man for like 2 years, like 3 years maybe.
When they were,
but then he's got that gangster ass thug attitude that just kills him. Like not to be mean, he's just always getting pictures with like hood rats and like being with gang members. I'm not joking. It's a real thing. You can look it up.
He does represent.
Like you are that rich and you're putting yourself in the streets for what? You don't need the street cred. Like come on now. But Mike Conley, Kyle Lowry, like Ty Lawson, like oh my god. Eric Bledsoe, who is his backup at his 7th season, and it was his backup, and he's still outlasting him. Like, what's Eric Bledsoe doing?
The longevity of his greatness
at that size as well. By the way, let's just maintain the size he is.
It's fucking nuts.
So good.
And then this was the fun what if, just for me, because this was so say Kobe retires 14-15 or something along the lines, because doesn't he actually retires 14-15, didn't he?
Yeah,
or is it 15-16?
15-16.
All right, so say he never got hurt. He has those 2 years, whatever. Say he wins one in 13-14. And then at the end of 14-15, say he does retire. They go into 14-15. The free agents were LeBron, Carmelo, Kawhi Leonard, Dwayne Wade, and Gordon Hayward, who at the time was pretty.
He was that man. He was hot.
Lakers somehow keep Chris Paul and Dwight Howard and somehow get the likes of a Kawhi Leonard or a LeBron, even somehow get LeBron over there, or somehow pick up Gordon Hayward and maybe play some fits? I don't know. I didn't know what you guys were thinking there. I just kind of
Gordon Hayward can cost some,
because I can see if they win or whatever, say they win 13 or 12-13 and then somehow 13-14 Kobe retires, or he retires after a win, something crazy, but they still got that squad. Or even if they still got Kobe going in the 14-15, that could be an easy Gordon Hayward pickup, or even somehow pick up Kawhi.
It's Kawhi looks more attractive at that place.
It's the Lakers. It's the Lakers. So they want to put a quality product on the floor. Tyler, you talked about earlier, as much as I love Kobe, that contract his last 2 years really handcuffs the Lakers.
Oh, they couldn't do shit.
It was bad.
They pretty much had to rebuild.
Yeah, they
were forced to. They were forced to.
And they trade away. Oh, they don't get any of those picks. They don't get Julius Randle. They don't get D-Loading. Yeah. They don't get Brandon Ingram.
Larry Nance Jr.
They don't get LeBron.
I'm
pretty sure they don't get LeBron after all this.
They don't get Lonzo Ball.
LeBron's not in Cleveland either. Where's LeBron
true.
at? So, you see
LeBron could have
just mind-blowing.
LeBron could have went to the Clippers or something ridiculous. But any last takes before we finish it? Like we said, probably the best. Are we all in agreement? The best case scenarios: a Western Conference final loss, and then maybe a win, 13-14. Because even if Kobe comes back 14-15 for a repeat, I don't see it unless they somehow get Kawhi or.
Can I just ask the question?
Hayward. Let me hear it.
How close is that playoff series versus the Hornets and the Lakers after that trade?
I was going to say, I want to hear your Kevin Martin take.
Because he just came off of averaging 23 points.
Mm-hmm. He was an eater.
And then he was top 5 in free throws and three-pointers made. That's only been done since James Harden was the last person to do that now.
It's not fair to him for me, but what kills me with Kmart is his 1 year with the Thunder where they expected so much out of him.
He just James Harden,
and he averaged 14 points, and he just had too much pressure on him.
He had to run the whole back. You can't do that for somebody who's just he was a starting point or shooting guard. He went to go bench. And
he was playing Thabo
Cephalos's that's tough.
But he could try to score, but they wanted so much defense out of him. He was just full speed running for a 3, and it's I'm not that good of a runner.
Yeah, he's not a runner. He's a bucket getter. But
it was sad.
That team, Goran Dragic averaging 20. You get David West, who's not a free agent yet, by the way. Then you get Lamar Odom.
Mm-hmm. David West.
You get Luis Scola at the best year of his career.
Mm-hmm.
That team is a playoff team. They're getting buckets, and that is a close series because they're going to grind it out.
How about this one? I really think the Lakers, because looking back, hindsight 2020 for the third time, I think it would have been smart for them to somehow still get rid of Pau Gasol that year. 2011,
he had 2 years left, and they just paid him again. It was bad.
Because he has I think the next year, 2012, 2013, he had an 18 and. Or no, he had 16
and 16 and
but
8.
2011, 2012, he had 18 and 12. Had a pretty good, solid year.
The year after, there was the third
but 12, 13 with Dwight Howard, he shit the bed. I think he only played 60 games or something.
62 games is what he played.
And it was the last of the year he missed, didn't he? Because he wasn't on the. That's why Kobe went so fucking hard. Damn, dude, it's such a fucking crazy accomplishment of what Kobe really did.
With like his next leading scorers were like Dwight Howard with 20, and then it was like Steve Blake with like 10.
And the Meta World Peace averaging like 7.
Just elbowing motherfuckers in the back of the head.
Wow.
Just
dude.
This is a good one.
Any more takes? Any more takes at all?
I think I'm burnt out, but Kevin Martin definitely wins Most Improved Player of the Year, and then probably takes him to the final or to the playoffs easily.
I was gonna say finals, definitely not. I just think the Kobe
difference
would have been it. Like you just have that one guy, like a LeBron, Kobe. That's why, like, I'm really high on the Suns right now with Devin Booker. Because I think Devin Booker's that guy over Giannis.
Well, Stephen A. made the Kobe comparison a couple weeks ago.
Did he really?
Well, that's been the comparison for like 2 years now.
To say it out loud is like,
his approach to the game, the style of play, he's got a little more range than Kobe did.
Definitely has more range.
Way more range. But the mid-range is filthy, though. With Kobe. He's got the Kobe mid-range floater.
Now, the finishing at the rim isn't the same, but
will he have the same team success, individual success Kobe did? Probably not.
I mean, I love how like we talked about. You brought up how Chris Paul's in the finals right now, and it just worked out so well for this video. But at the same fucking time, like, I just think it's nuts how Devin Booker, like we just brought up the comparison to.
Don't get too excited.
Anyway, Anyway, but yeah, I just think it's crazy how Devin Booker is like the comparison to Kobe, and that's Chris Paul's chance finally. Like I said earlier, like it's his chance for this team that we're hypothetically talking about, like DeAndre Ayton, a young Dwight Howard.
This is the team.
Yeah, this is
Mikal Bridges, Meta World Peace.
Chris Paul's Shaq right now on that Lakers team, and Kobe's young with Devin Booker. Like that's that squad right now. So. But hey, guys, this has been fucking fun. This has probably been 2 hours. I don't even know, but
it's everything I wanted it to be.
30 minutes and 39 seconds.
That's actually pretty solid. It's probably perfect. Solid. I'll probably edit it up a little bit, but
love that.
This has been the greatest sports what ifs. What if Chris Paul had been traded to the Lakers? Myself, Stephen Moustaris, Walter Cerrato, and Tyler Barnett. And thank you guys so much. Been brought to you by the Intrigue Content Network. Let's go.
Appreciate you guys.
Hit that, dude.
Yep.
Woo!